Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher.
Just one of us here today. Yo, dog, great to be here. My man Wyatt is literally packing right now in Texas. He's got the crew together and they're boosting out to California in the morning.
Oh, wow.
He says, and I quote, "I will never financially recover from not getting my deposit back."
That's always a kick in the pants. It's, dude, like every time I moved out of a place, they would always nickel and dime me some shit. I remember one time I didn't get money because the oven wasn't clean. And I literally went into the office and I was like, joke's on you. I never even used the oven for all 2 years I lived there. I was like, how is it dirty? All I did was put some pans in there and I pulled the pans out when I moved out.
Yeah. That's why I always shit on the carpet before I leave. Because I know I'm not getting a deposit back.
Well, if you shit on it, then that means you own it, right?
Yeah, technically. I think scientifically.
I'm pretty sure we can prove that somehow, I think.
So we had a pretty wild after hours, talked about a lot of things. I think we centered on the reality that we forgot to talk about Golden Demons, which is a big annual event that takes place at Adepticon every year. It's like the big one.
Well, there's another one this year too. There's two this year.
Yeah, and they were gone forever. Then they came back, and there's always great juicy bits of controversy year by year. And like previous year, remember when it was like some dumpster fire paint jobs were winning best in slot and stuff? You remember like that Nurgle Dreadnought?
I kind of liked it. I mean,
yeah, but it beat that yellow Contemptor Dreadnought.
Yeah, I mean, art's subjective though.
No, it's not that subjective.
Oh, okay.
Not that subjective. Rule 1 of art: contrast is not subjective; it's objective.
True.
And that motherfucking Dreadnought sucked dick. So we got to talk.
That's a hot take.
We got to talk about it, and that was fun because, as we determined from the after hours, the internet is full of chronic haters right now. So there's lots of fun things to talk about, like the AOS stuff and everything that we learned about, or I learned about. Rob already knew about it. So we have some juicy Golden Demon hot takes because we were too busy patting ourselves on the back and getting high on our supply post the Long War doubles at Adepticon. We forgot about all this free controversy we get to comment on. So that'll be something we talk about here later in the show.
I'd like to just not talk about controversy once.
That's the best thing to talk about.
Define best.
I define best as what Kenny finds interesting.
Oh, well, it is interesting. I can't fault you there.
Specifically what I find interesting.
Well, I mean, I've been writing a website for 15 years about what I find interesting. So I feel like if I judge you for that, I would be judging myself.
So, no Wyatt, so no would you rather, unless Rob has one.
Would you rather enter the Golden Demons with a 3D print? No, I'm just kidding. Or AI
No.
backdrop.
Would you rather enter Golden Demon and win with a 3D printed model that was AI generated in a scan of an existing model, or lose under those same criteria?
Bold.
But be disqualified because of it, or win or win without anyone knowing you did it and feel like you got away with something.
I think if the guy said that, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I think if he said it was 3D printed, that's hilarious.
Nonsense.
I'm going to have to do some digging. I'm going to go mine that news, Salt.
Mm-hmm. Give me that crack rock.
This can be the good stuff. We also have six sets of Longmore dice left from Adepticon. Just six.
There was a hidden cache Rob discovered at the bottom of his luggage.
By luggage, he means my Lucky Charms that had settled all the way back from Adepticon.
Yep. So, if you're driving to work right now, and you followed my instructions last time, pulled over safely at the nearest Long John Silver's, got on the Long John Silver's Wi-Fi, checked the web store. We do now have them.
Six sets left.
Well, skipping the would you rather, moving straight to news.
Oh man, that's me. It's good to be here, everybody. So yeah, there was a little bit of controversy today on the news front, but let's talk about the new releases coming up on pre-order this weekend. So we've got the new Kill Team Nightmare box that has the Dark Eldar Mandrakes and also the Night Lords for Chaos Space Marines. So it's just the Night Lord upgrade sprue for the normal Legionnaire box, and then brand new Mandrakes, 2 squads of 10. And also a train piece that's retailing for $140. Warcry has a new starter coming out called Pyro and Flood. That is $130. And then the Wild Corpse Hunters and the Ogre Gorger Maw packs, separate releases, finally are coming out for $60. And then on the Blood Bowl side of things, the Gnomish team with the Goose and Wolverine or Badger miniatures in there will be out for $50. And then you got the Gnomish Tree Man. And then what was the other guy? Rodney Roachbait is also coming out $42 and $36 respectively. Pitch, dice, team cards, all the accoutrement will all be on pre-order this weekend. Then on the new 4th edition Age of Sigmar side of things, GW announced today, as a matter of fact, that there would be some changes. Some things would be going to Legends. They announced all the specific miniatures, but for the most part, there's a vast majority of the original Stormcast from 2015 and up until like 2016-ish. A lot of Skaven, but we know there's new Skaven coming out to replace them, and they kind of alluded to that too. Remember, they did the same thing in 10th edition with Stormcast, or not Stormcast, Sternguard, the Terminators, and people were like, why are Terminators getting Legends? Oh, because we're getting new Primaris size Terminators. Okay. So maybe there's some bigger size rats coming in the 4th edition box, etc. So there'll be some of that, but also strangely, various single miniatures like Valkia, which was kind of a bit of a surprise. The Goblin Spider Cave Rider thing, which was kind of a fan favorite, it was out of stock, but it was a cool mini. But maybe more importantly, they said that the complete range of Beastmen and the complete range of Savage Orcs would be going away. They will be still tournament legal until 2015, summer of 2015. So you still have a year to play with them in 4th edition Sigmar, which they didn't do the courtesy of with any of the stuff in 40K. So that's kind of,
it's kind of a long setup, man. That's
yeah.
Like, we've talked about this subject a lot since 8th edition of Warhammer 40K dropped, and they started legending stuff, and a lot of hot takes across the internet.
Oh yeah.
Go to the after hours to hear some of ours, but like at the end of the day, man, like GW doesn't want to make something anymore or support it. They don't have to. You know, and we're kind of beholden to them. And this is kind of an interesting, middle ground where they're saying, like, you have a fucking year. You have a year to come up with a solution to your Beastman / Savage Orcs conundrum. Seems reasonable.
It is worth mentioning that both are playable in Old World. So, and I've been talking to a particular game accessory manufacturer about potentially coming out with some adapters and things for so people can take their round squared minis and put them in the movement trays and such that are square. So if, say you have an ogre army and you want to play it in old world, that would make it a lot easier. And the same thing would be
at the very least, you have a year to rebase an army.
Yeah. I feel like you do have to rebase if you're going from one actual like geometric shape to another. You probably do need to rebase them. It's kind of not like, oh, it's just increased 5 millimeters on each side, I'm not going to worry about it.
No,
it's kind of
like I said, we went pretty deep on this subject, and after hours to listen to the podcast, you've been listening to it for a while. You probably heard all of our opinions about things getting legended and our opinions of people who suffer from chronic hate on the internet. All of that. Like we covered it all. So this time around, barring the after hours, straight up, those models are going away. They're going to become utterly unsupported in Age of Sigmar. You have 1 year to figure out what you're going to do with them.
Yep.
Like, that's the news. And, side commentary seems like enough time to figure something out.
Yeah, I think so.
And Rob has already given you a solution.
Well, that's definitely one of them. But, I think at the end of the day, as we saw with Old World, a lot of TOs were like, hey, you can still play with legacy factions. And I think we might see that with Sigmar. Hey, you can still play with the legacy factions.
It would be incredibly healthy for our hobby if that started happening.
Yes.
If, just again, we used the CCG analogy earlier, and you talk about how they go into other formats that are played. Well, right. We can talk all we want about how Legends doesn't mean you can't play it, but it kind of does. Because there's no organized play really happening that supports legacy stuff, legend stuff. But if we moved into a game state where there was, and they actually got draw, then I think that'd be healthy. More options equals better.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you, and I think that's the direction that things are going, especially in this day and age in this economy. You just can't. You can't have an army that's all ready to go and painted and just be like, oh, well, I guess that's it. Like, no, absolutely nobody is doing that, So we'll see how it all sorts out, but I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it in the near future. We saw with the new Kroot hunting pack and the Tau Codex in there, we saw it basically is going to be the new Tau Combat Patrol. To replace the old Combat Patrol box. And this one, it looks pretty good. It's got a Enforcer Commander, 10 Breachers, 10 Pathfinders, and a Devilfish in it. It's probably a bit more well-rounded for Tau players than the current one that kind of has a special character you might not use, and like a $90 Ghost Keel suit that you might not use. It's probably not going to have as much value, but at the end of the day, it's probably better all the way around for folks. And then rumors wise, there's still some more stuff swirling out there about the Eldar Wave 2. Apparently by the end of 2015, all the Phoenix Lords and all of the Aspect Warriors are going to be done, minus the Dire Avengers. Apparently they're not redoing the Dire Avengers because they're so much newer. And that's pretty cool to see, because all of those models basically need to be redone at this point. Did I say 2015? I guess I lost a few years there. I meant 2025. Easy
mistake to make, Rob.
I agree. Time has no meaning anymore since 2020. I'm still getting over it not being 2019 anymore, personally. I feel like we just fast forwarded 5 years there. But here we are. Some other stuff that's worth mentioning on the sales side of things. Frontline Gaming has a secondhand store sale, so if you're looking to score some stuff, there's still some pretty good finds. I was going through it a little bit earlier over there. So if you're looking for any used Warhammer miniatures, you might want to hit them up. They're 20% off right now, I guess for the next couple of days. We've got our dice up on the store. There's only 6 sets of the long war dice up on there. I know we don't really talk about BattleTech that much on the show here, but BattleTech has been huge resurgence since 2020. I think I said that right. Um, so Catalyst Games had an awesome Kickstarter. I think they did like $8 million or something. And I mean, it's just huge. They had a huge presence at Adepticon. You probably saw all the video game pods, and they were live streaming like pretty much the whole time. Incredible, just really getting after it and, trying to get in there, and just really big resurgence with BattleTech. Just before the Easter holiday, and before everybody went out of the office, they put out the stuff to, do all your backing and everything on Kickstarter. There was a little snafu with the shipping. I guess one of the play mats was incorrectly dimensioned wrong in the backer kit, and it was throwing off all the shipping charges, and people were, it was basically saying that you had to pay like $200 shipping, $500 shipping, depending on how much stuff you bought. And obviously none of it was right. And we was out of the office for Easter. And I feel like, yeah, maybe they should have double checked it. As a retailer myself, shipping's an MFer, like straight up. Everybody is always changing everything all the time on the shipping side of things.
Yeah.
It's whether, volumetric shipping, dimensions, all this stuff. Like it has to be double and triple and quadruple checked, like all the time. It's a nightmare to do shipping. And even they said, once they figured out there was an issue, and once they got back into the office after the holiday, of course, Twitter wouldn't give them no respite over the weekend, because blah, 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 they're trying to take our money and all this stuff. Like, dude, give people their weekend off. Like, you got the weekend off, give them their weekend off. Like, come on. Like, we're all humans here. just treat people how you don't want to be treated. They got back in the office. They realized there was an issue. The very next day, they got together. They figured out the issue. The very next day on Tuesday, they said, hey, we figured it out. We're going to fix it. It's going to take a little bit of time. Nobody pay this ridiculous shipping charge on here. So, kudos to them for getting in, figuring it out, saying, hey, we're sorry, our bad. We're going to fix it. Like, that's all anyone can ask for, really. So, good on Catalyst for making the Kickstarter shipping, and the backers all happy there. Also, another, kind of disappointment turned upside down. Fallout Factions, that new skirmish game for the Fallout universe from Modiphius, they announced that there's going to be a shipping delay. Basically because nobody wants to go through the Red Sea right now, which I can't blame them with all the stuff going on. And you don't know if you're going to get pirated or cruise missile at this point, right? So they got to go down around Africa, and they got to go up to get to the UK with their stuff, which is understandable. It's going to take a little bit more time. So they rolled out a free promo figure. Anybody that pre-orders the starter set game at this point will get the free promo figure regardless. So, kudos to them for coming out, showing the new miniature, saying everybody's going to get it. It's dope, right? Like, these are companies doing it right. They understand. And I understand how everybody's very fast to jump and be like, bah! But these companies aren't, they want to be around. They're not just taking your money and splitting, Now, there is some of that out there, sure. But, I just feel like if everybody just calm down a little bit, it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing to happen to you today. And if it is, it's not that bad either. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Kudos to them for making it right. I think, for the most part, that was all the stuff I wanted to talk about on the news front. Hopefully we'll get some new 40K releases here. Well, dedicated 40K. I mean, Kill Team is 40K, and I know a lot of Dark Eldar folks have been waiting for those mandrakes for a number of years. So that's going to be cool to see.
Yeah. So it's going to be a shorter show no matter how we slice it tonight, guys. Again, Wyatt's going to be hitting the road tomorrow. We're going to a new podcast date.
Yes.
We're going to be switching to Wednesdays, back to Wednesdays, our old time slot, starting next week. the 10th. And then we're going to be off again the 24th because me and Rob got shit going on. But
I will have stuff going on because you have stuff going on.
I don't like the way you're saying that. It makes me suspicious of you. But so I'll fill the air with a thought that that made my newsletter today, and I mentioned it briefly in the after hours, and that's the time of year to get the hobby grind going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just me sharing my opinion of things, how I do things, which I've done quite successfully for many years. But this time of year is my favorite time of year to sit down and generate momentum for my hobby projects. So kind of that spring, for me, historically, it's because it's after Adepticon, right? But it works. If you do this kind of travel, this is a good time anyway. But regardless, settling down right now into the spring momentum, get your models, start setting up your project, figure out your 2,000 point army. That's what I always tell people to do. Don't just aimlessly paint. This is a game. Games workshop. Figure out what you want to do. Even if you haven't played yet, download the app, pen and paper, or napkin and a pen if you're Rob, and
post it.
Literally just do it. Set up the army, build them up, get everything set up, primed, build yourself a little planner, what your goals are. Give yourself a date. My date is October, right? I start here. I want to finish in October. Mm-hmm. And what I mean about hobby momentum is that you want to get that feeling that ball rolling to where you can't stop, right? Like nothing's going to get in your way. And I've been doing this for so long that we've made observations on what we're doing different times of the year when we get shit done. Man, this is when you get shit done. It's not winter. We're all nerds. We don't go outside. So don't hit me with the, I'm all cooped up in winter, not going outside. That's when I'm going to do my hobby in this year. No, you're not. That's a myth. You're going to be doing Thanksgiving nonsense, Christmas nonsense. You're going to be doing holiday decorations. You're going to be cleaning. You're going to be going to this state to go to your wife's parents' house. Then you're going to be back over here going to your parents' house. You're going to have all these obligations and these expectations placed upon you by all these people who mean, a lot to you, like all these important people in your life, right? Like, so you're not going to find that relaxing moment to sit down in your Pete's lab and generate momentum. Now you are. In the summer, everyone says, "Oh, but I'm gonna be outside doing shit." No, you're not.
No,
you're fucking not. Stop lying. We're nerds.
It's hot.
We're nerds, dude. We're not gonna be out. We're not gonna be out kayaking and shit. Maybe again, if you are gonna be out kayaking and shit, I don't want to talk to you.
I'm jealous of you.
You need to be in your Beats lab painting your fucking models. When are you gonna paint your models? You got boxes of unpainted models. That's what you got. If you own a kayak, sell that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Kayaking's pretty low.
If you own a kayak and models, I know that your models are not painted. Tell me without telling me your models are painted. Show me you in a kayak in the summer.
Post it in the whip gallery.
Like now, start generating momentum because at the most, what are you going to have? The kids are home from school. Maybe you have a family vacation that you planned out. So you have like this one thing, this one obligation, not non-stop nonsense shopping, this, that. Bro, sit down, buckle in, especially with all this information that's coming out. Like if you're an AOS player and you just found out that your shit got legends, right? And you're disappointed about that. Or you found out you can't play your Beastman, right? In a year, generate momentum, crack open those boxes, design your project. This is the same information I give all my students through my curriculum, my 101 course. These are all the, you can get all the information you need. Go buy an airbrush. This is that fucking time right now. 2024, April, generate hobby momentum right now. And by October, maybe I'll see you at the GW Open in Tampa.
I feel like it's right now it's easier to get that momentum because you see all the dope pics or you went to Adepticon, right? Like you see,
take that feeling.
Yeah,
exactly,
like,
Rob.
All those dope painted armies, all the new stuff on display. Like I played the Halo miniatures game. Mantic had it there. I played that. And I was like, yo, this is dope. This is easy. I like both of these things.
Hey, Rob, we
I
had
like
some people
Halo.
in chat who didn't even go to Adepticon, but all they've been doing is watching videos about Adepticon.
Yeah, that too. Like,
And
it's
they're like,
amazing.
hype. The hype.
Yeah.
Take the
Let me tell you
hype
what.
and turn it and jam it into your energy converter. You know what I mean? Like you're like you use that stored energy, that potential, man.
I convert all my potential energy into kinetic.
There's a poop joke there.
Or I'm a mutant X-Man, whatever. Who knows? Yeah, I was and the Adepticon actually came out and said they had 2,000 more people this year. They went from 6,000 last year to 8,000. Like that's huge increase. And it was definitely noticeable. Like that was the best one yet.
Yeah, we got somebody in chat right here. Negative CHA says, I have never wanted to pay more than getting back from Adepticon. It was our first time
Exactly.
there and it was amazing.
Yep.
Take that feeling, generate the momentum, get it all set up. Project paralysis plagues our entire industry. Right? Everyone has it, man. Like this, like a lot of the negativity you're seeing on Reddit and the chronic hate you're seeing about any subject related to rules changes, balance updates, legends. Like this only affects you if you are currently painting and playing with painted armies that those things are messing with. But if you are plagued by project paralysis, meaning, you have been meaning to finish an army and it's been like months and you're looking over at all the box sets you've been buying and not opening. That's project paralysis, man. Take the first step this spring. Build an army list. That's just do that. Build an army list. Don't overthink it. Don't try to meta that shit out. Just build an army list that functions 2,000 points with the models you have. Then build those exact fucking models, no more. Don't say, well, I'm going to batch paint all of my guys. Fuck that. Fuck that. Just build exactly the models that you plugged into your shit. Prime them bitches up. Get yourself a spreadsheet. Figure out how you can meet your goals. Pick a date. Finish by that date.
I wanted to talk about something else too because it's pretty intriguing. Something I have a little bit of experience with.
Rob has a painting. If you're listening to this on your ride to work.
Yeah. So, Wicked Brick came out and announced that they're a licensee for Games Workshop, and they're making Warhammer display cases that you've probably seen on their site by now. We did a story on it.
Holy shit!
This is what I'm holding up here in front of the camera is roughly a I don't know, about 4 foot long piece of they call this a particular type of acrylic. I don't know what it is. It's got a printed background on it. This is actually a Wicked Brick they make display cases for Lego kits. And this is a Saturn V rocket display that I've never put together. I bought it on sale and it took me about an hour to get all the protective coating and wrapping off of it, but it came flat packed from England. Very, very good quality. They got all these little screws and everything, and it magnetizes down. It's a vertical display, so it goes something like this, and it's about as tall as from my
If you're listening, you know what the fuck he's holding. It's like a long, skinny, vertical landscape.
It shows
like
it
clouds.
shows a rocket
It's
blasting off,
It's a rocket blast off.
basically, and then you can see at the top the moon because it's for the Apollo missions. So at first, I think a lot of people, looked at the cases that are on display or for the Warhammer figures, and they looked at it. It looks like the case lifts off and it's magnetized, and you can get stuff to fit your whole army or just a squad or just a single miniature. And they range anywhere from what it looked like to with the printed background. From $30 on up to $80. And I guess the large with the deep is $96. And they do run sales, so keep that in mind. But I think if you're going to spend the money on anything, this is definitely one of the ones to consider like actual display that stays stationary, at your house, you can't really hang it up. It's mounted on stuff, but if you want to hang something up and you want something lighted, there's other solutions for that
What
out
makes
there
it?
already. But it is an AI printed backdrop, I'm sure. Nah, I think
What's the manufacturer again?
Wicked Brick.
Wicked Brick. Again, to the people who can't see this.
Yeah. Very, very cool stuff, and definitely, I feel like definitely worth the money. But if you are on a budget or it's just out of your reach, just wait for some sales because they always be having some sales.
Oh, you got to spend money to save money, as Rob says.
It doesn't work any other way, I don't believe.
Nope. It's true. All right, so let's go hear from our sponsors, do a commercial break, and then we'll talk about Golden Demon controversy.
2014.
For the best game aids and peripheral tools for wargaming, check out our friend J15games.com. From wound counters and dials to faction rule trackers, these are the coolest tools out there. Designed to be functional and intuitive, these tools help you stay organized and speed up your game. Their flagship product, the Nesting Movement and Combat Tool, is absolutely amazing. A magnetized measuring widget that splits into 3 different size tools for every situation. And you can get it in 8 different colors. J15 also offers custom ordered dice trays made from hardwood and leather. Check them out at j15games.com. That's j15games.com.
baronofdice.com, the official dice sponsor of the Long War podcast. Use promo code LONGWAR5 for 5% off. If you're looking for a superior dice manufacturer, then look no further than Baron of Dice. Custom artwork, faction representation, and crisp razor edge square dice. Remember to use promo code LONGWAR5. Again, that's baronofdice.com, the official dice sponsor of this podcast. Tell me about the Golden Demons.
Well, you see, they have this competition where some of the best painters in the world paint on miniatures and then enter them into this competition called Golden Demon. Somebody gets a really neat sword at the end. No, I'm just kidding. So I guess there's a couple of controversies. The big one is that Neil Hollis supposedly used AI printed artwork for his Eldar Exodite entry that won gold. And people seem to have a lot of thoughts on that. And then the other one is that the actual Slayer Sword winner, the Soulblight Vampire, supposedly had 3D scanned and 3D printed a miniature components in it.
Uh-oh.
But rules is written. There's nothing against either of those things in the actual rules for Golden Demon.
Okay, so we didn't talk about Golden Demon after we came back from Adepticon because all we cared about was Long War doubles. Fucking kicked ass.
And getting our hobby energy going.
Get our fucking hobby momentum. Forgot about the Golden Demons. But apparently there's been all sorts of controversy. Enough controversy there. I was like, yeah, no, people are talking about this. So
yeah,
we looked at these 2 entries a minute ago. We've got let me pull this up. Do you have them in an article or something?
Yes.
Can you send me the pictures? Or a link to the article, I guess, will work.
What do you want? Both.
If you give me the pictures, if you could just Facebook me the pictures of the 2 entries in question.
Can do.
Renegade, how about the fact that GW is naming a Casbox after us? Well, like, in all fairness, like, they coined that phrase and we took it from them.
Nervous laughter.
In all fairness.
Yeah.
We named our podcast after them.
Yeah, it was kind of like a double entendre.
Is a special rule that Chaos Marines had, Veterans of the Long War, which was chaos and they should know no fear.
Yeah. All right, here's the article. So it's Neil Hollis, and then you can see the Slayer Sword winner in there.
All right, let me pop
Actually,
this
it's the first picture you come to is the Eldar Exodite, and then you got to scroll all the way down to get the Slayer Sword.
All right, let me slap this. This is the first picture I come to.
Yeah, the first entry. You can tell it's the one with the background or backdrop.
Yep, I got it. You said all the way at the bottom is.
Yeah, it's that Soulblight Vampire.
Oh my God! Why are you putting these ads on this page? Don't you have?
Got it.
Why doesn't your website know not to serve me ads?
You know what? I forgot to tell it this morning.
It's like I'm pressing the little Xbox, Rob, and it's not going away.
That's not true.
And your whole website's blurred out behind it. It's like a truck bed. Like it knows that I want a truck bed. Yes, I know. I want a Tanya cover. I just hit refresh.
I always know what you want.
It's because I told you?
It's because you told your microphone.
Because I said it at some point to the internet.
Yeah, Google's always listening, bro.
So I'm looking.
Slash your searches.
Paint jobs. It's like you said it's the last one. Oh, there it is.
It's the one for the Slayer Sword of the Warhammer. And then we got all the pictures we took at Adepticon.
So I threw it up on the screen.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that didn't even get mentioned.
I've got this vampire nonsense on the screen. So we got who painted this vampire?
Alexander.
Is it the Santos guy?
Yeah,
Alexandre dos Santos. Okay, so what were you looking at if you're driving to work? Is this fucking vampire diorama where it's like an optical illusion where it's a tree? He's standing on a tree on like a little swampy island. But he completely inverted the tree optically. And so it's also the stand inverted, but it's made to look like it's clear water, perfectly reflective water. And the angles on the vegetation are like floating subtly on nothing. It's incredible. And the most incredible part about it is that the vampire, his reflection is him, no art, but the armor is being animated by nothing because vampires don't have reflections. It's preposterous, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously one of the best models ever painted, or best diorama presentations of all time, without a doubt. And apparently people are mad because the word on the street is he 3D printed this.
Yes, that is apparently what he said. Can't confirm.
And how many people who were also in the running for Golden Demon lodged this complaint against him?
I can't say for sure.
Any vocal Golden Demon contestants out there on the internet making waves on Reddit that you're aware of?
I don't know. I don't frequent Reddit because I try.
Because they also banned you because of the death threats, I think. So
one Reddit. One particular mod on one Reddit said I can't post there, but I don't post on Reddit anyway, so who cares? No.
So apparently it's enough of a subject. I would be surprised. It's a bit, right? I'd be surprised if any of the other people in the Golden Demon running, the front runners, lodged any kind of complaint about this. This is people. I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And if one of them did, I'd like to have him on this fucking podcast and hear his point and hear why. If there is a person who was in the top 5 of this category, because he's only like 3rd, right?
What, this?
Did he win?
This won the Slayer Sword.
No, so this one is Slayer. So I want to see the number 2, number 3 guy I want to see if they're the ones who don't think this guy should have won. And if that is true, I would like them on this podcast to explain to me why. I'd like them to have a real ass conversation because you know what? I'm going on a limb here and say the motherfuckers don't care because this guy Dos Santos fucks, dude. This model is.
I mean, dude, like this is a pretty good piece. Like just in general, the fact that, I mean, you know, as well as I know, when you, and I'm not saying this is airbrush, but when you airbrush something, making the same, you could have the same model, but getting the same look on two different models is near impossible. And this guy literally did it.
And he used 3D printing and technology to his advantage so he can create the greatest optical illusion diorama of all time. So apparently there's controversy about this. If you're on Reddit and you've heard about some 3D printing controversy, Golden Demons, we're looking at the model right here in our video version, and it slaps beyond belief. Get over it. 3D printing is just 3D. It's just a tool assisted kit bashing. Like that's it. It's like,
I mean, rules is written. That and then the AI art is not. It's not against the Golden Demon rules.
Yeah, like if it was against the rules, sure, but it's not. Now, that's so on the subject of 3D printing and painting competitions.
Right.
How ludicrous. Scale of 1 to 10, how ludicrous is it for someone to center on how the model got there versus how well it's painted in a painting competition? Scale 1 to 10, how ludicrous?
Well, I mean, I think it's a tad bit.
10?
Yeah.
10?
I would say a solid 9. I mean, because if you think about it, a lot of the folks that were entering the Crystal Brush and also the Golden Demon, well, I guess primarily the Crystal Brush.
Basically, it was about how custom was the mini.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very hard to make a custom mini from Games Workshop because, you know, they're always judging, like literally the everything, not just the composition of the piece, but also the components of the piece if they are within the IP. Because remember Victor Hardy, like his shit was painted dope. And it was all like custom sculpted with green stuff, but it had some religious overtones, and they were like, "No, sir." Like, so there's always stuff like that.
Yeah, there is. I mean, so now let's talk about this 3D backdrop or this backdrop entry.
The Exodite,
the Neo Hollis single miniature Exodite situation here. So
yeah,
apparently people are mad because this background, which is just a diorama aid.
Diorama aids?
Yeah. And in the single mini competition, right? This is single miniature, right?
I think it was. Yeah, single miniature. He got gold with it.
So this is not even, it's not even like who's got the sickest diorama. It's literally like who painted the best. This man has a sick diorama of a Velociraptor Dino Rider Exodite.
Yeah.
Coming at you. He's coming at you. And he's just got a classy little insert that he took to Walgreens and had printed out.
Maybe. We don't know that.
Like, it looks that way to me. As a graphic designer, that's what it looks like to me. Like, it looks to me like it's a printout. I don't care. This is best single miniature. That's just the way he chose to present it. And now
he also added some actual like 3-dimensional bits and or sculpting to it.
He used it and then he made it like an old school light box. Like it's literally got 3D vines in the foreground, rocks blending into it as it fades away, and then it's eventually a 2D image using forced perspective and foreshortening to look like he's coming down this, like, I don't know, fucking valley in the middle of the jungle.
Dino path.
Who fucking cares? And then the means in which he generated this image is irrelevant, dog. It's just a fucking accent. Like, I could see somebody have an argument if this guy won best diorama, right? Because I would assume that you would want the guy to put his hands on every part of the diorama. I can see you having a 5 ludicrous meter. But this is even more irrelevant to me than the previous question. How ludicrous, Rob, is it for someone on a scale of 1 to 10 to center on how the backdrop of the single miniature winner's not even required background to exist? How ludicrous is it to center on that tool assist? Scale 1 to 10.
I don't know. It's a solid 7 in my book.
So you think it's more reasonable to be outraged by the AI backdrop than the 3D printed sculpt?
I think no. I mean, 9 being higher. I can see where more people would be mad about that than this.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, how ludicrous of a person do you have to be on a scale 1 to 10 to focus your attention and ire to this background, like an 11, right? You have to be so preposterous of a person.
I mean, again, are any of the competitors or, if it was that big of an issue, Games Workshop can be like, hey, give us the Golden Demon back. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's their event. Like, regardless of what the entry rules are, GW can just be like, yo, dog, nah, you're disqualified. And that's that.
So yeah, the discussion really is, I mean, so obviously 3D printing is controversial in our hobby. I get why people might get mad about 3D printing because it is a hotbed of controversy and excitement in the chronic hate department. For sure. And in society, AI generation has become a controversial hotbed of chronic hate. No doubt. There is some legitimacy to both claims, some real world implications to both people, both sets of individuals. But I feel like a lot of that real world angst is being misplaced here on a miniature painting competition where both dudes did in fact paint the fucking models. No, Boston Tech didn't make a robot that paints the models yet.
Good luck.
So, juicy controversy. I'd like to know how people feel about that.
They got plenty to say.
Yeah, and ultimately, painting competitions, honestly, Golden Demon is a better painting competition than Crystal Brush was. Crystal Brush, because of its Wild Wild West rules, made it it's already subjective to judge painting for sure. We all know that. But if you want to even create the illusion of objectivity in a painting competition, there has to be some rules. And the rules, in my opinion, I go completely the opposite direction. I'd say I would tell everyone what the category entries were the year in advance. I wouldn't let you pick. I would say everyone has to paint in this category, it's a vampire count. In this category, it's a Exodite. In this category, it's a spaceman. I would release that information and give people a year to prepare. So it would be everyone's stone cold interpretation of the exact same art piece. Right? So obviously that's getting as objective as I can get, right? So GW isn't going to do that. They want to see a wide variety of interpretation. But by them saying it's a GW model and them being the sponsor of the event, that gets us much closer to objectivity.
Yeah.
For sure. And so how people are using these tools to bring that to life, I think is impressive.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you too. I guess we'll know if it's an issue when they put out the rules for next year's Golden Demon.
I could see them putting a rule on 3D printing because if or they have to change the wording of it being a Citadel model. Because you're technically in rules violate. If the wording on the document is it must be a model that we produce, like that, like along those lines, then you can't 3D print it. If it's a GW IP, it has to be a GW character, it has to be a GW something. If they leave you, and I think it's more like that because they leave you room to do green stuff and sculpting, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I actually don't know the specifics.
So if I 3D printed a vampire count and you told me I broke the rules, then the guy who green stuffed a cloak on his vampire count also broke the rules.
Yeah.
But clearly GW is down for us to mess with the model as long as it represents the IP. Like, anyway, that's the golden.
So it says entries may only contain components manufactured by GW. Entries incorporating third-party products or components will not be considered.
So obviously GW doesn't even enforce that. GW doesn't even enforce that. Components? What a broad word. That means if I use glue they didn't make. That means if I use grass they didn't make. So GW is going to need to, so if GW might need to tighten up their wording because that's unenforceable and not enforced. I use cork they didn't make. I use rocks they don't sell. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, that's
clearly bad wording.
It's a little.
I mean, I would say like pretty much everyone gets disqualified.
I'm just reading through this because it's all. I mean, even the rules are a little up for interpretation.
Class GW writes weird rules. Got it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, this one's weird too. It says only entries wholly painted by the entrant may be entered. Entries submitted on behalf of another person will not be accepted, and joint submissions are not allowed.
That's right. Every Golden Demon winner since the 90s DQ'd.
Yep. Everybody.
Yeah, so their rules,
Yeah.
so they're pretty their wording is obviously nonsense. And if this controversy is enough to be on GW's radar, expect a tightening of the wordplay.
I could see that.
Because like all you need to do is say components on the model itself, or like the base of any model must be a GW model. You're allowed to use third-party products to modify the model, of course, but we don't want to see plug and play miniature model company elements on our entries.
Which is understandable.
With the exception of the following, maybe. And then you'd come up with a 3D printing clause. 3D printing could be used in these 3 examples.
Yes.
But the spirit is that the model looks like the model they sell. That's the spirit of the rule. Not some one-of-a-kind sculpt that only you own.
Yep, it's not Crystal Brush. Is there even? I don't even know if there's Crystal Brush anymore.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
All right. Well, that was a good one. We covered some topics. Why it's still on the road. Long War dice cache discovered. Some dice still up on the web store.
Yes.
Moving to our new date. We're going to Wednesdays from here on out.
Wednesday.
That's right, baby. Anything else before we get out of here?
Duff's on.
Well, take us out. We'll do a raid.
Oh, that's it? Okay. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Longwar today. Not the box set.